Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Exotic Wine Travel. I'm your host, Matthew Horkey. So today we actually recovered a wine that we've been chasing here in East Serbia, and that is Red Tamjanika. Now let me just talk a little bit about Tamjanika is one of the kind of indigenous varieties here in Serbia. It's a type of muscat grape, so it makes white wines that are really flowery and a lot floral and just very easy to drink. Not really high in acid, just simple summer wines. They actually make red Tamjanika, and supposedly the leader of former Yugoslavia, Tito, loved red Tamjanika, and we've been chasing all over eastern Serbia for it. We went to a monastery that's supposed to produce dry wines out of red Tamjanika. They were completely sold out. We did taste an excellent dessert, sweet red Tamjanika from Matel, which was really good. Shireen loves it. She's smiling right now as I'm talking about it. But we have yet to try a dry one until we found one. So we went all the way to the town of Rajic, I think that's how I'm pronouncing it, to this winery called Raj. It's owned by a Serbian woman and a British man. This is what their label looks like. This is their Gamay from 2013. You see that, Shireen? All right. Anyways, this is they make a Cabernet Merlot blend. They also make a Sauvignon Blanc. But this next year they released a red Tamjanika. This is 2015. It does not even have a label on it. We were able to get one before they release it to the market. So I'm really excited about trying it. A little story about going over to Rajic. First of all, it was an incredible drive from Negotin. It was a small one-lane track. It was paved, but it was passed. It was so bumpy to get out there. And when you got out to this town, you went into the mountain. It weaved along the train tracks into the mountain, and it was like these towns were completely lost in time. I mean, really lost in time. You say that about Italy, sometimes France, Spain, but I mean, this was way out there. It was not touched. The only residents of the town, a lot of the houses were abandoned, but a lot of the residents were older, like in their 80s, looked like 70s, 80s, 90s, driving their tractors, going out working in the fields. When we were looking for Rye, it was next to a train station, and I told Shireen, I think that's it. And she said, no, look, the building has a hole in it. From the front, from the road, it literally looked like the building was collapsed. We drove around to the back, and they were starting to restore it, so you had to drive around the back. Right next to this old train station, the train station with this tiny structure with no roof, it was completely abandoned. And looking at the train tracks, I thought nobody ever uses it. Who comes out here anymore? And literally, I think an hour afterwards, a little passenger train stopped by and somebody got out. So it was really cool. The town also had on top of it this little village made of old cellars built 300 years ago. We thought it was also abandoned, but when we walked around, we met some people. They talked to us. They said about 300 families are still there producing wine. We tasted some of the wines there from that were made completely traditional methods, not modern at all. It was really charming. I didn't realize that Serbia had such it really is an old world wine producing country. One thing I didn't know, when the phylloxera ravaged through the vineyards of France, Italy, Spain, Europe in the late 1800s, they were actually buying wine from Serbia, France was, to put in French bottles because their vineyards were completely wiped out by this insect. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's get on to tasting the red Tamjanika here. Hold on one second here. Let's see what this... We have not had, and this is supposedly dry, I have not had red Tamjanika yet. So I'm really excited. This, I think, is the only place in Serbia that does have it. First of all, before I break it out, it's got nice... If you looked at it, almost looks like a Gamay color, like a Beaujolais. Lighter in color, doesn't have a ton of color. Hold on, let's give this a sniff. Hold on one sec. It's interesting, it smells like a forest bottom with a little bit of flowers, but it still smells like a white wine with berries mixed in it. Muscat and Tamjanika have a lot of flower, a lot of citrus fruits. Mostly flower coming out. This has a little bit of flower, some dirty forest floor, some berries. It's going to be very interesting, I think. Maybe a little mushroom. And you can smell the wood influence on it. So let's give this a taste. Hold on one sec. This is obviously a light wine. Got a lot of strawberry. A little bit of cranberry. I definitely taste the wood. Or, I mean, not a ton of wood, just a little bit of dirtiness. There's a lot of acid. This is probably the oddest. It's not, it's still good, but the oddest red wine that I've tasted in a long time. And it's dry. I wouldn't even say it's off dry or sweet. It's dry, but there's like that tinge of sugar. This is a really interesting wine. I can taste the alcohol. I usually rate wines higher if they have uniqueness in them. For this wine right here, I'm going to give it about, God, this 87 points. I think it's pretty surprising. All the this was the most expensive wine in their portfolio. I think Red Tamjanika is quite rare. But at least we can say we have drank it now, and I've tried to at least share some of that with you. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Exotic Wine Travel, and I will see you at the next episode.